Happy National No Brainer Day, Buffs fans. Clearly, it's a no-brainer to tune in today's Go Buffs Sports Live show. I'm Madison Nunez, alongside Xavier McNevitz, bringing you the latest CU sports news. Colorado football will have not one, not two, but three new coordinators next season, the latest being defensive coordinator Robert Livingston as he returns to the NFL as the Denver Broncos' new defensive passing game coordinator. Our very own Leo Rivera has more on the loss and CU's new DC.
Well, spring is in the air and football is right around the corner for the Colorado Buffaloes. But before we get into that, we got to talk about some of the new faces. And no, not just the players. This time it's on the coaching staff. Last year, Colorado's defense struggled mightily in their 9-loss season, and they have recently just lost defensive coordinator Robert Livingston to the NFL, who has accepted a position on the Denver Broncos staff. So this is going to mean lots of changes coming this spring and making it one of the most pivotal times in the Coach Prime era. You're looking at Julian Lewis having to come in and develop under Brendan Marion in the go-go offense on the offensive side. But on the defense, who is it going to be? Chris Marve, coming over from Virginia Tech, who took a break off of coaching and was initially signed as the linebackers coach, is going to be stepping in to take on that role as the coordinator. That's going to be a big change at the top for Colorado's defense. Moving on down, Domata Peko accepted a position in the NFL as well and will be leaving behind his post where he's helped the Buffaloes on the defensive line. And as well, NFL Hall of Famer Warren Sapp is also going to be not joining the team this season due to wanting to pursue other aspects outside of football. But what does that mean? Graduate assistant Dante Carter is going to be stepping into the role of defensive line coach after only one season at Colorado and one previous year of coaching at Texas College in the NAIA level. But with all these changes coming to Colorado, it's going to be an important spring for guys like Santana Hopper and Ezra Christensen to get going on the interior D-line. A lot of new faces, a lot of new changes to come in Colorado, but this spring is going to be one to watch, so make sure to keep your eyes tuned for that spring game on April 11th.
Let's go to women's hoops, where they took on 20-ranked Texas Tech and the Utah Utes at home this past week. Against the Lady Raiders, a strong fourth quarter propelled them to their third win over a ranked opponent. The upset also pushed them up to fourth in the Big 12 standings. However, against Utah, the Buffaloes stumbled in their home finale. Colorado lost to the Utes by 3, turning the ball over on their last possession. The Buffaloes will now need to win against BYU in Provo to secure the 4th seed for the Big 12 tournament. Let's go to Harrison and myself with an outlook of the conference tournament.
All eyes are on Colorado women's basketball as they pursue March Madness. Alongside Xavier McNevitz, I'm Harrison Simeon. We're here to talk some ball. Colorado's right on the bubble of the NCAA tournament, but they've got another tourney coming up in the Big 12, and they've got one more game before it with big implications.
Yeah, I mean, they play BYU on Saturday, and that is a must-win game for the Buffaloes. If they win, they secure a double bye in the Big 12 tournament, and that's almost pretty much an automatic bid for the dance. I think if they win it on Saturday, I think that'll carry big implications going into the Big 12 tournament.
Right, but if they lose, then they've got Oklahoma State, they've got Texas Tech right there. That could drop them all the way down to a 6 seed. So they're going to need a better showing in the tournament if they aren't able to beat BYU. But Xavier, what are the keys to beating the Cougars?
I mean, they can't turn the ball over, and they can't have a night like they did against Utah on Tuesday. I mean, they shot 34% against Utah. They can't do that against BYU on the road in Provo.
Right, and it's on the road. It's a senior day. That's always tough to win, even if it's a team that Colorado beat by 30 the last time they played them at home like they did. They dominated on the glass. I think that's the key. Just using that size again. So just grab rebounds, just out and muscle BYU as the big key. But going forward into the tournament, no matter what happens on Saturday, it'll be in the dance or in the Big 12 dance as a top 6 seed, up to 4 potentially. That double bye is big. What do you think are the biggest tipping points for Colorado to potentially win the conference?
I think if they get the double bye, they can definitely make a little bit of a run. They'll play better competition in the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the final if they get that double bye. However, if they don't get the double bye, honestly, it might help them make an even larger run to the finals as they can try to continue to stay hot through the entire tournament.
Right. We saw last year, even though they were kind of middling throughout the season, they stumbled at the end of the regular season against Texas Tech on the road. They wound up winning 2 games in the conference tournament against Houston and then Arizona. And then they fought really hard against top seed TCU. So there's the back and forth between, do you want the momentum, do you want the rest, or do you think it's rust? And I think that'll be really interesting going into what could potentially be the highest seeding for Colorado since rejoining the Big 12. So I think, or it already will be, but to get the top 4 is huge.
100%. Yep.
And I think that will probably propel them into the NCAA tournament. Do you think that there's any chance that they can make the second weekend this year?
I mean, maybe. It's going to depend on if they're either a first 4 team or if they get a bye, and if who their matchup will be, if they play in the play-in or if they play in the round of 64. I think there's a lot of determining factors. However, my ceiling for the Buffaloes is the round of 32.
Yeah, I would probably say the same, but you never know with J.R. Payne's squad. They fight every team they play. Alongside Xavier McNevitz, I'm Harrison Simeon. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, guys. The men's squad, meanwhile, beat the Oklahoma State Cowboys this past Saturday by double digits. Colorado's offensive was flowing all night, but it was the defense that shut down the Cowboys. The Buffs dominated in the second half, holding Oklahoma State to just 30% from the floor. Colorado was able to shut down the Cowboys in the final stretch of the game, holding them to 0 of 10 from the field in the last 6 minutes. Forward Bengot Dak led the team in points with 17. Dak was a force on the defensive end, blocking 2 shots and stealing a pass. The much-needed win helps the Buffs build momentum heading into the home stretch of the regular season.
As the season comes to a close, men's hoops picked up another win this past Wednesday. CU beat Kansas State after a strong second half. Freshman Ian Inman scored a career-high 17 points, and Isaiah Johnson also set career highs with 7 assists and 9 rebounds. Here's our very own Liam Howard from the CU Event Center following the win.
My name is Liam Howard of ScoBuff Sports, and I'm here at the CU Event Center where the Colorado Buffaloes just wrapped up a 79-70 victory over the Kansas State Wildcats in a game that was largely fueled by Isaiah Johnson's 18-point performance. He had a near double-double, would have been the first of his collegiate careers. He had 9 rebounds in the game, almost had a triple-double as well with 8 assists. He was contributing in all aspects of the game for the Buffaloes, and behind that, Colorado was able to pull away at multiple points in this game, with their largest lead getting to 22 points early in the second half. But Kansas State clawed back multiple times. They clawed back at the end of the first and second half and actually cut the lead to 73-70 with 2 minutes to play in the game. Tad Boyle, Colorado's head coach, credited that largely to a lot of stoppages of play that were taking place, whether it be for reviews, flagrant fouls, many things along those lines. He was not a huge fan of all the stoppages of play that were taking place, but that is ultimately what allowed Kansas State to claw back into this game and make it so close. PJ Haggerty had 25 points for the Wildcats, along with 4 assists, which did lead his team, but it was not enough to pull Kansas State out in front. Colorado had 3 blocks in the final 2 minutes, and ultimately that sealed the deal for the Wildcats. And the Buffaloes now turn their attention to the number 5 Houston Cougars, who they will face this Saturday. That's going to be at 10 a.m., and you can watch that on ESPN2 as the game will be in Houston. A tough road trip for the Buffaloes coming up as they close out the season and approach Big 12 championship play. I am Liam Howard, though, with ScoBuff Sports, and you heard it here first. My name is
Next up, the men's team will go on the road to face the number 5 seed Houston Cougars. The Cougars have lost their last 3 games in a row, all which were ranked opponents. Ladies and gents, there's no doubt about it that these Cougars will be hungry for a win. However, Colorado has yet to be a ranked team so far this season. The Black and Gold have lost all 5 matchups against a ranked opponent. The Buffs will try to capture their best win of the season, while the Cougars are looking to get back into a groove. Tip-off is set for tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., streaming on ESPN2.
After the Buffs take on the Cougars, they'll head to Salt Lake City to face the Utah Utes in their final road game of the season. Utah enters the matchup as the bottom-ranked team in the Big 12, sitting at 2-13 in conference play. However, the Utes have had strong showings at home. Junior guard Terrence Brown, Utah's leading scorer and assist man, will look to pull off the upset against Colorado. For the Buffs, it's a chance to close out the road slate strong and avoid a trap game as the Big 12 tournament draws closer. You can watch the matchup Tuesday night on ESPN+.
Now it's time for this week's trivia question. In recent months, Coach Prime's coaching staff has said goodbye to numerous assistants who have spent time in the pros. We're asking you, how many years of NFL experience did Colorado football staff lose this offseason? We'll have that answer for you later in the show. Women's lacrosse picked up a commanding win to keep up their hot start going last weekend. The Buffs hosted the Townsend Tigers and controlled the game from first draw to final whistle. Junior Tegan Ryan found the back of the net for a career-high 6 goals. Rachel Kennedy also got a hat trick, and goalkeeper Elena O recorded 5 saves on 8 shots. The depth scoring showed out as 10 different Buffs found the score sheet in the 17-5 win over the Tigers.
CU entered Thursday ranked 15th in the nation, traveling to New York to battle the 18th ranked Stony Brook Seawolves. Stony Brook took a 5-4 lead in the halftime and scored the second half's first 4 goals. Isabella Caparuccio led the Seawolves and all players with 3 goals and 9 shots. Despite a mild comeback, Stony Brook handed Colorado its first loss of the season, 9-7.
For her efforts this week, Elena O was once again given Goalkeeper of the Week honors by the Big 12. The sophomore goaltender holds all 3 of the Goalkeeper of the Week so far this season and hasn't shown any signs of stopping soon, posting 5 saves against Townsend this past stretch of games.
The Buffs continue their Big Apple road trip as they travel to West Point to take on Army. The Black Knights are 3-1 on the season. Colorado hosted their black and gold foes for the first time last year and came away with a 12-6 victory. The Black Knights' only loss so far this season came to number 2 Northwestern, losing 7-18. In Army's last game, they took down the Florida State Seminoles 13-7. First draw is set for 10 a.m. Mountain Time on ESPN+.
The women's hockey team had quite the ride in the WWCHL playoffs. Last Friday, they beat the Grand Canyon Antelopes 3-2 in overtime. Alexa Catan scored the game winner on Saturday. The Buffs won again in overtime over the Utah Utes 2-1. Team captain Zoe Dupuy had the game-winning goal, but the overtime luck ran out for the Buffs in the conference championship on Sunday. In a rematch with Grand Canyon, the Buffs lost 2-1 in double overtime, ending their season. Although the Buffs just came up short of making nationals, they still had an incredible run.
Men's D2 hockey also ended its season last weekend with a loss at regionals. Buffs beat Northern Arizona 5-3 last Friday to advance to the final games of the West Regionals. However, number 3 ranked Weber State awaited them. Both teams were looking to punch their ticket to St. Louis, but Weber State came out on top 2-1. The Buffs finished their season 22-5-1-1, good for first in the BMHC.
The men's D1 hockey team finished up their season with a sweep against CSU last weekend. The Buffs dominated the 2-game series, only allowing 1 goal all weekend. In his last game as a Buff veteran, goaltender Matthew Server shut out the Rams at their arena on senior night. Colorado finished the season 11-16 and won for 9th in the WCHL.
Damn.
That block was a little
Wholesome
messy.
Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today. Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your Buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is skull, Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
The Olympics might be over, but Colorado skiing is in crunch time. CU claimed the regular season RMISA championship on Wednesday after winning the Utah Invitational by a whopping 126 points. Currently, the Buffs are competing in the RMISA championships after day 1. They're in 3rd place behind Denver and Utah. Storm Peterson led a Buffs win in the Nordic race, while Jacob Moak placed 4th after returning home from the Olympics. Competition closes on Saturday.
After taking down UNLV, Gonzaga, and Utah Tech last weekend, the tennis team starts conference play versus Iowa State today. The Cyclones are 2-4 on the season. On Sunday, the team travels to Kansas to take on the Jayhawks. Colorado hasn't beaten Kansas in tennis since 2015, but this year the Kansas Jayhawks sit unranked. CU's tennis team is ranked 74th in the nation while sitting at an 8-2 record.
At Colorado's last chance meet, the track and field team excelled with the men's distance medley relay and Avery Pearson's 800 race, both breaking previous CU records. Track and field also put themselves in good positions to qualify for nationals. This week, the team is competing in the Big 12 Championship, where Isaiah Givens is expected to continue his dominance and win the mile race.
The men's golf team took home first place at the Wyoming Desert Intercollegiate on Wednesday. The team shot 34 strokes under par, beating out the University of Maryland by 12 strokes. Brandon Knight and Jackson Rivera tied for second individually at the tournament with scores of 9 under. As a team, the Buffaloes dominated in the second round. Their 17 under score in the second was the best single round by any squad at the tournament. The Buffs will be back in action on March 9th, competing in the Lambkin San Diego Classic.
The women's golf squad placed first at the Causeway Invitational this week. The Buffs were led by underclassmen at the tournament. Freshman Tima Pat Petiton and sophomore Ellen O'Shaughnessy both shot 3 strokes under par in California, tied for second place individually. As a team, the Buffs won the tournament by 4 strokes, beating out the UC Davis Aggies. This marks Colorado's second win this season, a great trend to have heading into the last 2 tournaments of the year.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Kieran Walker bringing you this week's top 5 plays in Colorado sports. Playoff hockey was the story this weekend, but we're starting off with women's hoops at number 5. So let's take you to the CU Events Center as the CU women took on number 20 Texas Tech. Look out, here comes Desiree Wooten coming the other way, driving up court. Backwards pass to Logan Greer! My goodness! Let's get a closer look at that. Wooten going up the other way. Beautiful pass through a defender, and Greer with the easy finish. A huge victory for the Buffs at home. Let's go to the Rocky Mountain faceoff now. Hey, look, it's Jared Packman in net, getting his first start of the year, I believe. But he saves it. My goodness, Rams peppering him, and a diving save. That man is a brick wall. Ladies and gentlemen, diving all over the crease, and a huge weekend for Colorado. Hey, look, it's some NBA action. Who's that? KJ Simpson for the Nuggets. Oh, he goes in for the slam! Welcome home, KJ. Back in Colorado where you belong. Now let's go to women's hockey for number 2. Top 2 plays this week, both from this game against Utah. Utah's going the other way. They're looking for a centering pass out in front, and Shira Wine with an incredible stop in overtime, keeping the Buffs' playoff hopes alive as they fight for a spot in nationals. A few seconds later, it's taken by Zoe Dupuis in the opposite end, and she fires down the slot, and she scores! Colorado would play for a spot in nationals in the WWCHL champions, and the Grand Canyon Antelopes would walk away with a W that weekend, but a great season for CU women's hockey. That's all I've got this week for you on Scobo Sports. I'm Kieran Walker, wishing you a wonderful weekend.
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned work.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Mason Davis bringing you this week's Rapid Fire, where we will take a quick look ahead at what's coming up. First up, men's basketball is on the road at Houston tomorrow morning with tip set for 10 a.m. on ESPN2 as the Buffs look to take down one of the Big 12's toughest teams. Then, later on Saturday, women's basketball headed to BYU for a 2 p.m. tip in Provo as they look to close the regular season strong and make a final March Madness push live on ESPN+. Then, on Sunday, Colorado lacrosse travels to West Point for a 10 a.m. faceoff against the Army Black Knights, who come in ranked number 22 in the nation. That one will also be streaming on ESPN+. And finally, women's basketball now turns its attention to the postseason, heading to the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. That one will be running Wednesday through Sunday across various ESPN platforms with a title on the line. Make sure to tune in and support your Buffs this weekend and beyond. Back to you guys at the desk.
It's time to reveal this week's trivia answer. As a reminder, we asked you how many years of NFL experience did Colorado's football's coaching staff lose this season? Off-season, drum roll, please. The answer is 90. After seeing out defensive coordinator Robert Livingston along with D-line coaches Warren Sapp and Damata Pecco, in recent weeks, an entire lifetime of NFL accomplishments has left the Buffs building. That also includes offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur and running backs coach Marshall Falk.
Our tweet of the week comes from our very own Coach Prime, who went to the C4C for the first time. Let's take you to what Coach Prime called some of the best food on campus, which I sure don't agree with.
wanna go? Wanna go check? We can. Yeah. Oh, it's so nice. Everything's so nice. It is. Camps, dining, and hospitality. Off media. What up? What's up, man? Let's get after it. There you go. What's up, man? I gotta tell you. I've never been in here. The food is unbelievable. Chef Reuben.
It's National Polar Bear Day, but it's too warm here in Boulder not to enjoy the weather. I'm Madison Nunez alongside Xavier McNevitz, and you heard it here first.